because I know He holds the future, and life is worth the living just because He lives. I'll cross the river, I'll fight life's fight, no war with hate, and then as death gives way to victory, I'll see the lights of glory, and I'll know He lives. Because He lives, I can face tomorrow. Because He lives, all fear is gone. Because I know He holds the future, and life is worth the living just because He lives. Because He lives, I can face tomorrow. Because He lives, all fear is gone. Because I know He holds the future, and life is worth the living just because He lives. Because He lives, I can face tomorrow. Because He lives, all fear is gone. Because I know He holds the future, and life is worth the living just because He lives.
Bukas ka dito.
Is worth the living just because He lives.
Yes, good morning again, everyone. I think our uh, director is here. So, Michael, can we also now play the Philippine National Anthem to start off our day?
Bayang magiliw, relas ang silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisingil. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baghaw, may nilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng matawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdiningning, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng luwalhati pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Again, good morning, everyone. We'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming in. We are 240 strong. Please do keep our lines open. Ask your friends to join in. This is day 5 of our SOAST week, and we are also beginning the new month. It's a new month. It's a very, very brand new month. And today, even though it's going to be the last day of SOAS week, we've been through a lot, and we are really, really glad that each and every one of you has been there with us. As we start our SOAS week today, we'll be talking about a very, very important uh, aspect now of the things that we are facing today. And we're very, very glad, we're very, very privileged to have with us our speaker for today, who's going to be talking about teaching and learning in the digital area. Our speaker is an electrical, electronics, and instrumentation and control engineer. Wow, with over 35 years of extensive experience in various industries and the academe. He has completed special training and schooling in the United States and even in Germany. He's a member of the Philippine Instrumentation and Control Society, Institute of Integrated Electrical Engineers of the Philippines. He is a UNESCO fellow. Uh, he's part of the Carl Duisberg Association and also part of the network of outstanding teachers and educators, or the Metrobank noted. Friends, students, co-faculty, thank you very much, and please help me in welcoming our speaker for today, Professor Engineer Cesar Cortez. Good morning, sir. How are you doing
Good
today,
morning,
sir?
sir. Thank you very much for your very nice introduction. Hopefully, I will be able to impart to you. First, I would like to congratulate you on your celebration. Happy SOAS Week. And you have a very nice team, no? Ang Sarili, Bayan, at Kinabukasan. No, this is something that we really need to do as a teacher. Alaman natin yung kinabukasan ng ating kabataan. So I hope with my presentation, we will be much more enlightened in using technology in education. So I can start my presentation.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. We'll be very, very glad to view your presentation and hear from you. Please do check if you are able to share your screen and to.
Kita na po.
Yes, sir. We can see your screen now.
Okay, so it's a very nice topic that I would like to thank for the invitation of Ma'am Solane. Okay. Teaching and learning in the digital area. This is something that we are now experiencing, no? Especially that we don't really assume or think of or even dream that this will happen to us. Since for the last 2 years, we are facing a new challenge in our educational system. Never that we thought that a student will not enter the classroom anymore. And hopefully, we will have a new era in learning all of these things. And as a good teacher, we always face the challenge. So the era of 21st century is often regarded as the digital technology. Digital technology is the important role in our give us, no, or performs important role in our life. An economy that is poor in technology grows in today's scenario. This is because what makes us work more easier is because of this technology. We come to the point that we rely too much with this technology. The impact of technology can be felt even in our educational system. But what is technology? Technology is a term that refers to a knowledge that is employing to generate new tools, skills, and choose materials for human consumption. Technology use include the use of modern techniques and sources of power that easier for pleasant work and productive. What is digital technology? Digital technology refers to an electronic system or devices or resources that generate, store, process data in digital form. Digital technology uses number system that is quite unique, not typical number system which we are very familiar with. We count from 0 to 9. We call it the decimal number system. But the machine that we are using, lucky for those we call millennium children, they were born with computers already available. Before then, during my time, we don't even have this computer. Yes, we have been reading this computer in textbook, but in real thing, we don't have that in this school. What we have then are vacuum tubes like that becomes obsolete nowadays. No? But since the entry of 1960s, when semiconductor was introduced in the market, then there is a sudden boom in the production of new technologies, new devices, no, applying using what we call microprocessor. So this is the heart of the system now that we are dealing with too much. Even your cell phone might have it, even if your wristwatch might have it if it is a digital one. No? And this technology was actually introduced way back in 1847 by George Boole, and we call it the mathematics of logic. And this technology is still presently being taught in this school, which we call now the Boolean algebra. And what is education? Education, this in general sense is the learning in which the knowledge, skills in a group of people are transferred from generation to generation. Teaching, training, and research. There are several things that we need to take note. What are those parts of our knowledge that must be improved? Is that just the intellectual knowledge? So in 1956, cognitive domain was introduced, and this is dealing with the concern with thinking and intellect. We call it the Bloom's taxonomy for education. Not later, that knowledge is not enough. We found out that just by teaching a student with this capability, how about the feelings? So in 1964, the affective domain was further studied, and this concerned with your feelings and emotion. Receiving, attending, responding, valuing your one's work, organizing, and characterizing. And then finally, in 1972, there is a boom in the needs for blue-collar job. This is the year wherein we are exporting too much skilled worker abroad. There is a big demand for skilled worker, especially in the Middle East. So there will much need for us to develop not only the knowledge, not only the feeling, but also the skill, behavior of a student. So the psychomotor taxonomy was introduced that deals with imitation, manipulation, precision, articulation, and naturalization. Technology in education. There is an enormous technology revolution in our world that undergone in recent years. We are bombarded too much with this technology. I've divided my presentation this morning into 3 parts. First, I would like to share with you some technology education, what teachers should know, some myths about technology in education. And then later, I will be touching on the 4 C's of education. And in final presentation, I'm going to touch on some tips that I would like to share with you how to improve your teaching capability or our teaching capability. So in the Philippines, internet first came available in March 29, 1994, exactly at 10:18 in the morning. And this was started by PhilNet. And this Philippine Network Foundation was able to connect with our people, our country, to the United States via link at 64 kilobits per second. You can just imagine how fast it is. It's only 64 kilobits per second. As of January 2020, there are now 73 millions using the internet in our country. And this penetrated the total population. And what is the importance of this speed? Before driving it, it's important to understand the key factors that impact countries' internet speed. Generally speaking, internet speed depends on, number 1, infrastructure. Today, infrastructure, we need to modernize. It should be already in fiber optics technology, or it is already using fiber optics technology. Before then, the technology that is being used to transfer the data from one location to another is using copper conductors. And the problem with that is the limitation of the bandwidth. So in order to speed up, we're in the competition now, the computer that was introduced sometimes in the 80s, when it becomes public consumption. So before then, in the 80s, there is no such thing as computer for public consumption. Basically, computer will only be found in big businesses, banking system, which we call mainframe computer. But this mainframe computer becomes smaller and smaller. Then the following after a decade, no, it becomes mini frame computer. Now today, we are now using what we call the portable computer. We even have the word laptop, book, etc., not even your smartphone. The next problem that we need to address after the infrastructure, after establishing a very good system, is proximity to the connection to submarine cable. So later, I'm going to add some more on this connection because just as of yesterday, there is a very big news, about internet. So proximity to connection to submarine cable. So this is a cable, under the sea that interconnects the different country to communicate. The size of a country, since landmass affects how much it covers infrastructure, the smaller the country, the cheaper it is to upgrade the internet system. The problem, even though the Philippines is not so quite big, the problem is the landmass of our country are separated by water. So interconnection is quite a problematic technology that we need to encounter or solve. The fourth one that we need to take note is investment. Investment makes a difference for how much a country or a government is intending to support internet accessibility I'm so happy that the government is moving towards this direction. And in fact, a special agency was uh, built up and known as the Department of Information Communication Technology, precisely to monitor and supervise this infrastructure. So these are some myths that what teachers should know. Myth number one, new technology is causing a revolution in education. So please, all of this myth, when you hear it, no, don't take it per se. You have to take it with a grain of salt. Smart television, computers, smart boards, tablets such as the iPad, it was thought that all of these tools would change education beyond recognition. It seems that classroom practices has remained remarkably stable during the recent years. We still need our teachers. Even Bill Gates said, just giving people devices has really an horrible track record. What he mean about this? It's not enough that we have now the availability of this technology for us. But the most important thing is how to make use of this and integrate this technology in our teaching methodology. It's not just we just get a portion of YouTube, a portion of Google, a portion of using Zoom, Google Meet, etc., or other learning management system, and then that's it. The use of technology. There are times that it does not motivate our student. In 1993, there is a published book, a study on how pedagogy and not the medium that makes a learning. And in 1994, Clark went far predicting or daring prediction that this medium would never influence education. He saw that mediums as a means or vehicle or infrastructure. It's just like a comparison that, like for example, your food being delivered by Grab. Did Grab change the quality of your food, or you still have the same food? So the essence of learning remains thankfully in the hands of teachers. Effective determined by primarily by way of the medium use or by the instruction accompanying the use of that medium. Let us listen to what Professor Clarita Carlos talks about education in one of her presidential debates. So myth number one is often have the feeling that we are finding it harder to reach our
Sir, I think you're
students.
on mute, Prof.
Yep.
Cesar.
Sorry. Okay. Is the sound okay? Hello? Wala po sound?
Sir, okay, your speaking voice is okay, sir.
Okay na pa. So myth number one is often have the feeling that we are having a hard time finding it, no, to reach our students. That is why we are so feverishly interested in anything new in the market that might help. Myth number two, the internet belongs in the classroom because it is part of the personal world experience of the children. Teachers has discovered at their expense that using information and communication technology in their lesson randomly in a structured way does not always have a lasting success. A study by Canadian Higher Education Strategies for Association describe how students have a preference for ordinary real lessons rather than e-learning or the use of technology. They really seems to like access to human interaction, a smart person at the front of the classroom. Although this result at first glance seems fairly negative for e-learning, majority of the students said that they would like more electronic contents in their course. They would like more online courses notes, and they would like more recordings of lessons on the web. Myth number three is dealing with today's digital natives, are a new generation who want a new style of education. Sometimes we call them millennials, young people who were born in the digital world and for whom all forms of ICT are natural. So this is something that teachers must be facing. We need to really upgrade ourselves because our student is upgrading so fast, no, faster than we are. But the problem with us is as we get older, it seems we hate this technology. The adults who were born earlier are therefore called digital immigrants. Who are these natives? They possess new ways of knowing and being. They are driving digital revolution and thereby transforming society. They are innately and inherently savvy. They are multitasking, team-oriented, and collaborative. They are native speakers of the language of technologies and have unique viewpoints and abilities. They embrace gaming, interaction, and simulation. They demand immediate gratification, and they reflect and respond to the knowledge economy. The student use large quantity and variety of technologies for communicating, staying connected with friends, and around the world. For personal empowerment and entertainment, student use of technology as consumers of content rather than creator of content, specifically for academic purposes. This is something that we need to look at. University students do not really have the knowledge of technology. What knowledge they have are often basic software applications, such as MS Office, skills, emailing, text messaging, social networking, and surfing the net. there is so much thing as a generation of digital native. Computers should be used to supplement and amplify what the teachers does. It should not be the other way around, or otherwise teacher will become obsolete. Today's technologies are already using what we call artificial intelligence. New modules, new teaching modules are already integrating this technology. The technology tries to fast track the development or accomplishment of a student using a standalone learning module. Myth number 4 says that internet makes us dumber. This is according to author Barnes Susan Greenfield and Manfred Spitzer in their 2012 book titled Digital Demence or Digital Dementia, have appeared from group of critics who seem to agree that we are all becoming more stupid because of the technology we are using. They refer to the plasticity of the brain in arguing that internet is rewiring our brains in a harmful way. We have here what we call the Plin effect. It is coined by James Plin, an author, 1934 or 2020. And Plin effect is the substantial and long-sustained increase, both fluid and crystallized intelligence, we call it normally says IQ, test scores that were measured in many parts of the world over the 20th century. Plin concluded that the increase or increases in IQ must have been caused by changes in environmental factors, meaning that IQ is influenced more by environment than by genetics. IQ increase could be attributed in increase in education as opposed to innate intelligence. In 2012, we published a book titled, Are We Getting Smarter? He shared his doubts about whether the effect actually measure that we really have become smarter. Nowadays, we are relying more and more on technology. New media is an important contributor factor in the rise of average IQ. Perhaps even Steven Pinker is right when he says that we are making use of our brain by using Google for unnecessary information, just as we use satellite navigation or another global positioning devices instead of a map. Like, for example, one typical case is you are at a loss because you don't know the place. You use Waze. And then suddenly you go around and then arrive to your destination. But looking at the location of that person you want to reach is just a few meters away. But you go around and around because Waze told you to do so. Nowadays, Patsy Sparrow, a professor at Columbia University in New York, has described the Google effect. The student remember information easily if they think that this information is not likely to be available on the internet. So this is something that teachers should be very much well-versed on what is available in the web and what is not, or devise a means, no, especially pure textbook tourists, no, a student must be very, very careful on this because not all the information available in the internet are reliable. the students are better at remembering where to find something on the internet than they are at remembering the information itself. So in the final analysis, we certainly know more now that when we did in the past. So why we should be stupid? Myth number 5 says young people don't read anymore. Is it true? So according to the published article in Philippine Star Global, December 3, 2019, among 79 participating countries of economies, the Philippines scored the lowest in reading comprehension in the 2018 program for International Student Assessment, or PISA. This is according to that release. And the Department of Education Secretary Leonel Briones said they were not expecting high marks for the Philippines, noting the result of the National Achievement Test, which showed low proficiency levels in science, math, and English, published by Philippine Star, December 3, 2019. So looking at the 2017 National Book Development Board survey, you see young people has a much more readership than the adults. No? We compare that with the printed materials or books, youngs reads more. 84.99% of the population surveyed. Reading ebooks, 23.98% readership. And 15%, 15.08% for the use of audiobook as compared to adults, only 3.58%. So refuting this myth, our society serves up so much instant and pervasive information, which we fail to examine discerningly, that we end up circulating and strengthening myths through repetition and enhancement. Self-styled experts, educational charlatans, publish anything they want in the web. It comes at us from all directions in every mediums without any check on their expertise. The real danger living in the age of Photoshop isn't the proliferation of fake photos. Rather, it's that true photos will be ignored as ponies. And how do we combat this? The educational sciences must be driven by theories and theory development, and not by simple observations and conclusions. So in order to address all of these things, let us cover our forces of education in the 21st century skills. What are the forces of the 21st century skills? So there are 4: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. And in fact, there is an author that make it 5. He included choice. What is communication? Teaching children that communication can come in many ways, and it is very important. It is not that just speaking verbally with someone to communicate, but can also be non-verbal cues, such as hand gesture and facial expressions. Now that we live in such a digital world, it is also important to teach children how to navigate digital spaces with responsibility. Here is an example of a teacher climbing rocky roads, taking a ride on a boat just to bring the learning modules in her students. Another faculty walks a few kilometers to bring the modules. Or a student trying her best or his best to cope up with the lesson despite of inadequacy of the technology she or her has. But despite all of these things, the Philippines is looking at a brighter future. There are now some places capturing the broadband satellite opportunity, like for example, a school in Davao, wherein the internet connecting link was provided. So this is a typical problem that we are encountering now. We are saturated with this technology, no problem in Metro Manila most likely, but there are times even in Metro Manila, no, we always say mahina signal doon sa amin eh. Hindi ako makatawag. So I have to move out, no? Especially those living in condominiums, high-rise condominiums. Another problem that we need to address is the availability of power. Yes, one of the university in Negros Occidental, specifically University of Negros Occidental Recolectos, has a project, a solar power project to provide power in their rural community. And this is the news just yesterday that we are now provided by Elon Musk's SpaceX link, no? And this is actually a consortium with Converge and Starlink to connect the Philippines through satellite communication. Collaboration. Yes, this is something that we need. No man's is an island. No? I'm very happy to say that your school is doing its best to collaborate. Most career path requires people to work together in some capacity. It is important for a student to start learning how to solve problems and tackle issues in which the bigger picture involves more than just themselves. It can be difficult for a young student to see the side of his stance from someone else's viewpoint or point of view. This is a skill that takes a lot of time practicing. So the Department of Education is doing our best to communicate with the other two agencies, the Commission on Higher Education and TESDA, the Technology Division of our government in learning module. This is something that we really need to do in order to have just a common direction, not DepEd doing something, CHED is doing something, TESDA is also doing something without communicating with each other is something that we are expecting a worse output. I would like to share with you one project we are having in our school known as the Bridges Project. Bridges means building research and innovation development goals for engineering SOOCs. This is a consortium of several state universities and colleges. And the lead school here is Batangas State University, wherein there is an exchange of information specifically for research so that we minimize duplication, or if we are really doing the same research, exchange of data so that we can come up with a more concrete output in a faster way. Critical thinking, looking at a problem in a new way. Part of critical thinking is problem solving. Working through things like puzzles that challenge the brain and simply asking why. A very good example of this process that we can integrate in our lesson is gamification. Gamification is making our classroom alive, no? But not wild. While doing some games, they try their best, no, to discover the technology behind it. But in today's world, where we can get information at the click of a button, a large part of critical thinking is being able to look at information and decide if it is credible or not. Here is an example of a trainer wherein a student can practice working with under the STEM sense, we call it, or science and technology. So this is actually an assembly that integrates lots of digital information, interconnection, and control of movements. For in our university, I'm very much in particular in the use of this national instrument multi-sim or multi-simulator. Before, the typical problem that I encountered for the past 2 years is how can I have my laboratory in their house, in my students' house, in the comfort of their bed, in the comfort of their house. So how we can simulate now this school laboratory in real. So it's very nice that there are now available software simulators as if it is the real thing. And the problem typically, yes, most probably you can say, let the student buy the equipment, let the student buy the spare parts, but there is a big order from the Commission on Higher Education that we should not allow our students to buy expensive devices or components for their education, that even learning in public school is free. So with this National Instrument Multi-Simulator, we were able, since it is a software that we can share with our students, they can now learn the designing. It's not the beauty of this is not, you're not just drawing, no, wherein if it is not available, the student will just be doing drawing work for their laboratory. Can you just imagine? The engineering student will graduate with the knowledge in drawing, not in actual practice of designing a module or creating something. No? So, but this with this trainer, the student will be exposed on this, make the circuit work, and do all the measurement that is needed without the expensive equipment needed in order to perform the desired laboratory or the required laboratory. And finally, I would like to share with you creativity. Being creative is often through thought of when students are artistic or musical, no? But it is so much more than that. Creativity simply just means to think outside the box, and that can be in any area of specialization. Creativity can be taught and fostered by encouraging students to try new things and by creating a safe space for them to express themselves. So we need to encourage really the student to speak, to really, that is something, a problem that we need to face. There are times that in work from home, synchronous classes, you are just giving lecture, and then suddenly you ask the student, do you have any question? And nobody will ask any question. So that's the big problem there. So you will do some recitation. You will force them to really speak. Creativity will open a new venues, no? You will be able to see the capability of the student to modify, no? And when this is being done, it must be anchored with the fundamentals, theory behind it. Creativity, like for example, who will invent such a raincoat, no? Or creativity laboratory, using discarded bottles, no? Etc. So lastly, I would like to share to you now some strategies to make learning feel more like a game. So there are 10 of these. One is create student designers. This means to immerse the student in gamification. Start by allowing them to create the narrative of their class. By involving your student in the class design, a student can express creativity while creating e-learning or learning space in which they can excel. Second is allow second chances for our student. Like a game, students should be allowed a second chance when they fail. Students are then able to try to learn from mistake and succeed, eliminating the pressure and stigma, no, of failures and impact. Even the Commission on Higher Education has issued, even since last year, that no one will be left behind in this pandemic in our educational system. We have to do all the possible help, support our student to cope up. We are so happy that in the Rizal Technological University, the management is very much supported with our faculties. In fact, all the faculties were provided with their own laptop. And in fact, all faculties doing work from home are even provided with internet connectivity allowance. So hopefully, with all of these things, the student will be monitored and given follow-up learning materials. Promote collaborative feedback. Feedback is essential in any game or classroom. Group students into learning teams where they can work together on an assignment, provide feedback, and receive support from the instructor as needed. Games encourage teamwork, and the teammates are often give as much feedback as the coach. Use levels of progress bar instead of grades and percentage. Teachers can issue progress bars that gauge the student progress. When assignments, tests, or projects are completed, a certain amount of points can be added to a student's progress bar, bringing them closer to reaching the next level. Students love seeing visible progress and impact. We all do. Introduce challenges. Motivates our students to advance their learning through self-directed instruction by allowing them to add epic elements to work and projects. Introduce a project as a quest or mission that fits within the class narrative. This will draw students to learning in a new, fun, and exciting way. There are some materials that are being used now. We have the virtual reality, no, wherein we can simulate now as if a real situation. Emphasize student power and choice. Gamified classroom allows students to choose different paths in learning the curriculum. This choice allows students to be creative, foster and apply their knowledge while solidifying a sense of pride and ownership in their work. Use badges and rewards, which I'm doing. Badges and rewards provide a tangible symbol of achievements that is effective in celebrating student accomplishment, incentivizing your students to continue raising their efforts and raising student confidence. No? Integrate class-wide achievement. Teachers can implement class-wide reward system where everyone can celebrate individual and collaborative accomplishments. Rewards can be issued to the class when a student reaches certain goals. This builds students' camaraderie, support, and collaborative desire to succeed. Use smart technology. The 21st century learner is already accustomed to using technology daily. Classroom management system, Classrealm, ClassDojo, GameStar, Mechanics are good tools that can help teachers enhance the gamified experience. Emphasize skills and mastery of the subject. The emphasis of gamification is to provide the student with a fluid environment of self-directed learning. Emphasize the use of critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, creativity, and application. And in closing, I would like to share to you some quotes. One from Plutarch: the mind is like a vessel. No, it's not like a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. And Albert Einstein said, education is not the learning of the facts, but the training of the mind to think. And in closing, it is the supreme art of the teachers to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. And that ends my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Engineer Cesar. What a wonderful presentation. And it was very, very nice to hear those wonderful quotes from those speakers to end. We really appreciate you taking your time to be with us today. Now, with your indulgence, sir, we will now open the floor to some questions from our students as as this is part of the program for today. So, dear students, please do start your questions. Get the questions rolling on the chat box. I'll be monitoring the chat. But really, I like one of the points that I really like with your talk a while ago, sir, was the distinction really between the digital immigrants and the digital natives. You know? Admittedly, we are part of the digital immigrants, I suppose, sir.
Yeah. If your age today is around 40s and going up, then we are part of it.
Siguro mga estudyante natin ngayon won't be able to relate to things like IRC.
Yeah, we can just imagine during my time most probably some of the students still see this magnetic tape just to have a music in your pocket. We have what we call Walkman. And how many songs it has? There are only around 6 songs, and even you have to reverse the tape in order for you to hear or listen the other 3.
Oh,
But nowadays, you have thousands of titles in your pocket. And that is the myriads of technology, the wonder of technology that we have
oh.
now.
Oh nga sir, meron nag-comment on the chat. Si Janelle, thank you Janelle. She commented that I think she knows about cassette tapes and vinyl records. Nako, and then sabi nga niya, now we have Spotify. Tuwan-tuwa nga sila with the
Yeah, but
playlist.
yes, sir. But take note today, this vinyl record becomes again acceptable in our society, and in fact, it is not just a collector's item. You will see now from time to time posted the availability of phonograph player. Why? Because in reality, it has a much better sound as compared to the digital sounds that we have.
Totoo yun, sir. A lot of new artists are actually releasing their
Yeah,
new albums on vinyl, and I think you're an audiophile, sir.
yeah,
You're one of the people who are saying that compared to the digital sound to the CDs,
yeah.
the
It's not.
vinyls are really really different. And I suppose baka sir, baka meron ka pang vacuum tube na amplifier pag
Yeah,
nakikinig ka sa mga
in fact, the best sound amplifier for karaoke, it should be using vacuum tubes. It's really the distinction. But when you use vacuum tubes, you have there the problem to address. It consumes too much power
yun lang.
because to operate vacuum tubes, you need heaters. And that is a problem that we are now facing whenever we are talking about devices, is how much energy it will consume.
Pero I'm
So
sure for
we
someone who's
prepare.
I'm sure for someone who's really into the the experience of
Yeah,
listening to that kind of music, you know. So students, please do. We're talking about technology, but a lot of the things that Engineer Cesar touched on his talk was about how we can integrate the the use of technology in our learning. And one of the things that you mentioned a while ago, sir, was in the gamification process.
yeah.
How do you see that the gamification process helping our students in their learning, aside from what you mentioned a while ago?
Yeah, as of this moment, gamification software becomes a very big market in software development because of a big demand. We are now facing this pandemic and impact. We are now developing our own learning management system, which we don't have before in 2020. But we need to fast track this. Otherwise, we might be returning back to normal and still developing our learning management system for the past 2 years now. And how can we excite the student in learning? And one of this is to motivate them. And you see, one of the weakness of this student, the millennial babies, no, you see, they love video games. They love challenges. And in fact, they will not sleep overnight just to finish the game. How about if we convert that games into educational thing, no? And let them stay overnight also, just to finish the work or the module. And automatic, it gives a corresponding grade or accomplishment. That is gamification, no? They want rewards immediately for every step they finish or for every skill that they attain, and that makes these games addicting. No, they want more and more. No, improve and improve their capability until they become the supreme power in their game chance.
And if you're able to translate that into the learning objectives of our students, that will be really something very, very good. I think Dean Solane was raising her hand. She wants to also ask you some questions, provide a little bit more insights. Dean, go ahead.
Yes, Professor Cortez, thank you for joining us. No, it is
Yes, ma'am.
indeed our
Welcome. Good morning po, ma'am.
Mga students, very honored tayo kasi for someone, a presidential awardee to join us sa ating seminar and to learn from him. So I would encourage you to ask more questions, no. But for me, I really like what you said na yung mind ng students, in fact talaga hindi naman na vessel to be filled, no. It's there, no? Kailangan na lang talaga namin. The amount of education that students can learn actually is the amount na they limit to themselves na lang eh. Kasi tayo ang parang role na lang talaga natin is to enkindle them, no? And then bahala na talaga sila na na matuto ng matuto, sometimes more than than we can provide them. And then as immigrants, I still consider myself immigrant even if ako ay computer engineer by profession when I started, no. Pero immigrant pa rin talaga ako compared sa mga citizens, yung mga bata na yan talagang parang pagkapanganak nila yung gadget at alam na kaagad nilang gamitin, no. So siguro ang challenge, Professor, sa mga teachers, no, yung mga immigrants na gaya natin parang paano na kasi yung transition to digital, lalo na kung kunwari ang tinuturo nila is math or yung mga subjects na before naman hindi nila kailangan ng mga gadgets na ganyan. So parang mahirap, di ba, para sa kanila na mag-transition. So how did you go about it, or how do you think we can overcome yung ganong challenge sa mga professors natin?
At this moment, as I've said, we are lucky here at the Rizal Technological University that the school provided all the faculties, with laptop computers. But the big question mark then is, how about those digital natives? And how about those digital immigrants? It's really does not necessarily provide them with the technology, but the most important is how to make use of this technology in order to make learning much fun. So the best thing that we need is lots of training for our faculties. We started with simple one, and then little by little, we gradually increase the skills of the faculty. I'm happy to share with you one of my experience during faculty training in one school wherein they would like to have computers in their library. There are 10 computers. So I said, Mr. Cor, can you help us to organize a training for this? Yes, no problem. I'm very happy to share my time. And I'm so surprised to see that the attendees are at the age of 50s, going retirement. And then I told them, are you still interested in going? Yes, we want, because the school would like us to make use of this computer for emailing. So at a certain moment, one participant called me up, a lady that is almost getting 60s on year retirement. Mr. Cortez, can you help me? Yes, ma'am. What's the problem? What I'm going to do now, the mouse is already near the edge of the table and it will fall down. How can I point the actual object? So yeah, by just moving the mouse for the right position is already a problem at that time. But that is something, yes, so simple. We really need to encourage them. We need to teach them a simple thing by using simple materials, because if we go more technical, they are intimidated to the point that they will hate it. They would rather love holding a chalk and a board and then teach, rather than going into this digital age. But slowly, we are coping out. There is no other way. We told them, there is no teaching module available in the school. You have to do it online. Lucky for those who have printed materials that can be distributed, but we have a limited facility on this. So by encouraging them to have, this school must develop. It is this school initiative that should be doing slowly start from the very basic of this technology application in education, and then gradually increase the skill. Don't go immediately to a very complicated development of software to gamify your lesson. There are now available software that is user-friendly. So choose a lesson or software that is user-friendly, as if you are talking really with the machine itself. No? Because if you encounter hindrance while doing the training yourself, no, you will stop, or otherwise you you ask Google or Bixby what is the solution. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, sir. I like the way that you described it a while ago, Engineer Cortez. No, when you said that you were giving the gadgets, the tablet, the maybe it was a desktop, and that the teachers were having difficulties with just moving the mouse all over that. Maybe you can share a little bit of your experience and how you transitioned teachers, from that. To that way of handling the teaching and learning process now, aside from just orienting them on the tools, but really providing them with the necessary skills and the necessary ways to transition to digital learning. How was your experience
Yes, sir.
in doing that?
I will share to you the secret behind it. It should be it should be the work of the learning management system. The learning management system must have a ready-made format. We call it template, and it is up now for the teacher just to inject all the information that she needs for her class, rather than developing the entire module. And that is something that they really hate. Even downloading the information through the LMS is a problem. So how much more if you don't have the module that you are going to download? So it's a very big problem. How about if we provide them with the module itself, and then just modify them, tailor fit it, change the name, change the data, and that's it. And then later on, make your own. That's it. That's what we are doing.
Thank you, sir. Those were wonderful insights and additional insights that we got from you. There are very, very few comments on the chat. I would believe that this is because of what we're getting right now are just affirmations from on your talk. I think
Thank you.
this is a very, very good indication that the students were able to appreciate and fully understand all of the things that you've shared with us this morning. There's just one comment from Raymark saying about maybe we could just include more training for teacher regarding RECT skills, and maybe also like what you said, enhance the internet connections. And I'm very, very glad to hear what you sinabi niyo kanina, that we're having Starlink, and because satellite internet by Elon Musk through Starlink is really breaking bounds.
We're praying
Sana
that it will succeed.
Pag halimbawa si Engineer Cortez ay nasa tabi ng nasa Boracay, nasa
Yeah,
tabi ng beach.
it's not impossible. Yeah, I'm doing some of my lecture while I'm in supermarket, because there is a free access in the internet in the supermarket, and it's already my time for my online classes. So I go to my car and then go online.
So iniisip natin na anywhere talaga
Yeah,
we will have access to that.
You can do it.
All right. Thank you very much once again, sir. I think, sir, can you please stop the sharing? I think your slide is still being shared. Because at this point in time, we'd like to share with you virtually. We would like to present you with this certificate of appreciation. So if we can call in our dean also to help us with that, and if Michael can also now flash the certificate of appreciation on our screen. So we can do that virtually for the time being. Ayan. Let me just pin my that. And together with our Dean Solane Duque, we would like to present this certificate of appreciation to our speaker, Professor Engineer Cesar Cortez, for his invaluable contribution as a session speaker in the topic teaching and learning in the digital area. This is during the School of Arts, Sciences and Technology SOAS Week 2022 with the theme SOASTigin ang Sarili, ang Bayan at Kinabukasan, School of Arts, Sciences and Technology, Innovation Towards Self-Development and Nation Building for the Future. This April 1, 2022, it's signed by our Dean Solane Duque and our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Edison Fermin. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you
Dean,
very much.
any words from you?
From my side, thank you, Professor Cortez. Hope to see you soon, and
You're
hope
welcome.
to invite you again.
Yes,
Look
ma'am.
forward to inviting you again for
Yeah.
another session. Thank
Please
you.
feel
very
free.
much.
Anytime I'm free, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Engineer Cortez. Time check, it's 9:32. What we're going to do, dear students, in the next few minutes is that we will be releasing the G-form for this particular session. So you will have the opportunity to input your thoughts, your comments about this. And here's the exciting part, okay? For the next few segments of our SOAS Week, we will be streaming to you very, very shortly. So please stay on the call. What will happen now is that we will be bringing to you the live stream of our Mobile Legends competition. It will happen this morning, and the finals will be also streamed live later this afternoon. So please, we deploy the evaluation form for this session, please take some time in doing that. And of course, while we're waiting for the technical setup to stream our Mobile Legends competitions, what we'll do is we'll be providing you with some background so you can answer the forms while listening to and preparing to that. So like what we did yesterday, you can send in your request to our DJ while we prepare for the Mobile Legends streaming. So thank you very much, each and every one of you. Please stay on the call while we do all of the technical preparations for our 10 o'clock stream for Mobile Legends. Please stay safe, each and every one of you, our dear students. Thank you very much for your participation in this morning's session. Thank you again to our speaker, and we'll see you in a while.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Bye.
Bye, sir.